Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk English, the podcast where we learn simple English together by listening to easy and beautiful stories. And I'm your host, Anna. And today I want to tell you a story about a winter morning, a morning that was cold, quiet, and full of soft feelings. Because sometimes a winter morning is not just about cold weather, but also about peaceful moments, small joys, and beautiful sights. And I want you to imagine this day with me. So close your eyes, listen slowly, and let your mind walk with me through this winter morning. And everything started when I woke up very early, maybe before the sun came out, and the room felt very cold. And I stayed under my warm blanket for a few extra minutes, listening to the silence of the morning, because in winter, mornings are quiet, very still, and everything feels slow. And when I finally sat up and looked outside my window, I saw white fog everywhere. And the sky was pale, and I could not even see the end of the road or the tops of the trees because the fog was so thick. And the window was a little foggy too, with small drops of water on the glass, and I used my finger to draw a small smiley face on the window, and that made me laugh a little. And after that, I got out of bed slowly, put on my thick sweater, soft scarf, woolen socks, and warm slippers, and walked to the kitchen where I made a hot cup of chocolate with a little bit of cinnamon. And the smell made the room feel warmer and nicer. And I held the cup in both hands and felt the heat go into my fingers, and I looked outside again, watching as the fog moved slowly, like soft clouds on the ground, and the trees looked like shadows, and everything was quiet, like the whole world was still sleeping. And then I saw some smoke coming out of the neighbor's chimney, slowly rising and mixing with the fog. And I thought how nice it must be to sit near a fireplace on a cold winter morning. And I smiled again, feeling happy just thinking about it. And then I sat down near the heater and wrapped a blanket around myself and drank the hot chocolate slowly, enjoying the taste, the warmth, and the quiet. And while I sat there, I started to think about winter mornings from my childhood, when I used to wake up early and see my mother making hot breakfast in the kitchen, and how the whole house smelled like fresh bread and tea, and how we used to sit together at the table wearing our winter clothes, talking softly and laughing, and sometimes we would eat boiled eggs, toast with butter, and warm milk, and after breakfast we would run outside to see our breath in the air, pretending to be dragons or talking clouds, and then we would rub our hands together or blow warm air into them to stay warm. And on some days, we even made small fires outside using dry sticks and old newspapers, and we would sit around the fire, warming our hands and telling stories. And sometimes someone would sing a song or tell a funny joke, and I always loved those moments because they were simple and full of love. And I remembered those mornings today as I looked outside at the fog, and then I heard a soft knock on the door, and it was my younger brother, still in his blanket, asking if we could have breakfast together, and I said yes, of course, and we both went to the kitchen and made simple food, hot toast with jam, boiled sweet potatoes, and some warm tea. And we sat near the window and ate while talking about the fog and how everything outside looked like a dream, and after breakfast we decided to take a little walk in the garden, even though it was still cold, and we wore our jackets, gloves, and woolen hats and stepped outside, and the garden was quiet. The grass was wet with dew, and every leaf looked like it had little diamonds on it because of the drops of water, and the air felt fresh but very cold, and when we spoke, we could see our breath come out like little clouds, and we laughed and walked slowly, picking up fallen leaves, touching the cold flowers, and watching birds fly through the fog. And we saw a small bird sitting on a branch, puffed up and looking around, and I thought how even birds feel the cold and try to keep warm in winter. And after walking for some time, we came back inside because our hands were freezing, and we sat near the heater again, warming our fingers, and I made another cup of tea, this time with milk and sugar. And it felt perfect, like a small gift on a cold day. And after that, I opened my notebook and started to write about the winter morning, just like I am telling you now. And I wrote about the fog, the quiet, the warmth, and the memories, and writing made me feel calm, and the sound of the pen on paper felt like music in the silence. And as the morning went on, the fog started to go away slowly, and the sun began to shine a little through the clouds, making everything look golden and soft. And I saw the sunlight fall on the wet leaves, and they looked like they were glowing, and I took a deep breath and felt happy, thankful for the beauty of a simple winter morning, for the cold air that wakes me up, for the warm tea that hugs me, for the quiet moments that help me think, and for the memories that come back to make me smile. And then my mother called me to help with some winter cleaning. So I got up and helped her dust the furniture and fold the warm blankets, and we talked while we worked. And she told me stories about her own winter mornings when she was a girl, and I listened with joy, thinking how some things never change: cold weather, warm tea, family time. And after we finished our work, I sat near the window again and looked outside. And now the sky was a little blue, the trees were more visible, and people had started walking outside, wearing coats and scarves, and some children were going to school, walking slowly and rubbing their hands. And I thought how winter mornings are hard sometimes, but also full of small, special moments. And I wanted to share all of this with you today because I believe that when we slow down and notice the little things like fog on trees, the smell of tea, the warmth of blankets, and the quiet of the morning, we can find peace even in the cold. And maybe next time you wake up on a winter morning, you can think of this story and feel calm, warm, and happy too. And that is the story of my winter morning. Simple but full of soft light, warm thoughts, and quiet joy. And thank you so much for listening to this long story. I hope it helped you learn some English and feel something peaceful inside your heart. And I'll be back soon with another story. So until then, stay warm, stay happy, and keep learning English every day because small steps lead to big success. And I believe in you. Goodbye for now.